Discovery. Commander Sarah Chen stared at the holographic display, her dark eyes reflecting the ghostly blue projection of what appeared to be the most improbable space station she'd ever encountered. After 20 years in the United Earth Space Force, she thought she'd seen everything the universe had to offer. She was wrong. "Run the scan again, Martinez," she ordered, running her fingers through her graying hair. "There has to be some kind of error in the readings." Lieutenant Martinez's fingers danced across his console. "Already done it 3 times, Commander. The results are consistent. It's definitely Precursor technology, but..." He hesitated. "There's something else. Something that doesn't match any known alien signatures in our database." The massive structure floating before them defied conventional engineering logic. Geometric shapes intersected at impossible angles, creating what looked like a 3-dimensional abstract art piece rather than a functional space station. But what caught Sarah's attention wasn't the bizarre architecture, it was the modifications. "Human tech," she muttered, zooming in on a section that clearly showed standard Earth Alliance docking ports grafted onto the alien structure. "Someone's been busy out here." The Helios had been dispatched to investigate an anomalous energy signature in the outer rim, far beyond any established human colonies. Finding a modified Precursor station hadn't been part of the mission parameters. Neither was the faint distress beacon they detected moments ago. "Life signs?" Sarah asked, though she already knew the answer. Martinez shook his head. "None that we can detect, but with all the interference from the station's power core, we can't be certain. The energy readings are, well, they're unlike anything I've ever seen. It's as if someone tried to merge Precursor quantum technology with human fusion systems." Sarah's mind raced through the implications. The Precursors, an ancient alien civilization that had vanished millions of years ago, were legendary for their advanced technology. Their artifacts were strictly regulated by the Earth Alliance, with hefty penalties for anyone caught tampering with them. Yet someone had not only found this station but had extensively modified it. "Pull up any records of human activity in this sector over the past decade," she commanded. "Ship registrations, distress calls, anything." The ship's AI responded immediately. "One match found. Commercial vessel, Wanderlust, passed through this sector approximately 8 months ago. Captain, Adrian Chen. No relation to yourself, Commander." Sarah froze. The name triggered a memory, a scandal from a few years back. Adrian Chen, the brilliant but eccentric engineer who'd been dismissed from the Alliance Research Division for his unorthodox approaches to alien technology integration. "Show me the Wanderlust's flight path," she ordered. The holographic display shifted, revealing a series of jumps that made no logical sense. The ship had been zigzagging through the sector, almost as if he was searching for something, Sarah realized. He knew this station was out here. A sudden alert blared through the bridge. "Commander!" Martinez called out. "The station's power core is showing increasing instability. Whatever modifications were made, they're starting to fail." Sarah studied the readings with growing concern. The merger of human and Precursor technology was creating a cascade effect in the station's quantum matrix. If it collapsed, the resulting explosion would be visible from Earth. "Prep a boarding team," she decided. "Full hazard gear and quantum dampeners. We need to get in there and stabilize that core before." Another alarm cut her off. This one was different, a transmission, originating from deep within the station. The message was brief, repeating in an endless loop. "To whoever finds this station, I'm sorry. I thought I could control it. I thought I could merge our technologies and create something revolutionary. I was wrong. The weapon system is awake now, and it remembers its purpose. Don't let them find it. Protocol Omega initiated. Adrian Chen." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. Weapon system. The station's exterior suddenly began to shift, geometric sections rotating and realigning like a massive puzzle box. What they'd taken for abstract architecture was actually a transformation mechanism, and it was activating before their eyes. "Get us to safe distance, now," Sarah ordered. "And send an emergency transmission to command. Tell them we found something. Something that could change everything, or end it all." As the Helios pulled back, Sarah watched the station continue its metamorphosis. Her brother had always been brilliant, but his ambition had finally led him too far. Now she had to clean up his mess before it was too late. The station's transformation completed, revealing its true form, a massive weapon of Precursor design, modified by human hands. And somewhere in the darkness of space, Sarah knew, something was coming to claim it. The real question was, who would reach it first? Integration. Dr. Maya Patel had spent her entire career studying Precursor technology, but nothing in her research had prepared her for this. Standing in the station's central control room, surrounded by a bizarre fusion of alien and human interfaces, she felt like she'd stepped into a mad scientist's playground. "This shouldn't work," she muttered, running her scanner over a console where crystalline Precursor technology seamlessly merged with standard Earth Alliance hardware. The quantum harmonics alone should have torn the station apart. Behind her, Commander Chen paced impatiently. "But it does work, doesn't it? My brother found a way to integrate the technologies. The question is why?" Maya studied the readings on her tablet. The station's power core was stabilizing, thanks to the emergency protocols they'd implemented upon boarding, but the underlying architecture of Adrian Chen's modifications was unlike anything she'd ever seen. He didn't just integrate the technologies, Maya realized, eyes widening as she decoded more of the station's systems. He evolved them. Look at this, he used human programming as a framework to teach the Precursor AI how to adapt. It's not just a merger of technologies, it's a completely new form of hybrid engineering. Sarah stopped pacing. Is that even possible? Theoretically? No. Practically? Maya gestured at their surroundings. Your brother managed it. But there's something else. She pulled up a series of encrypted files she discovered buried in the station's database. These power requirements, they're massive, far beyond what would be needed for normal operations. Whatever weapon system he mentioned, it's drawing energy on a scale that could power an entire planet. A holographic display suddenly activated, filling the room with a three-dimensional star map. Red markers appeared throughout the galaxy, pulsing in an odd rhythm. Those are Precursor sites, Maya whispered. Thousands of them. Some we knew about, but others. She zoomed in on one sector. There are entire networks of their technology still out there, dormant but intact. And this station can activate them? Sarah asked, though she already suspected the answer. Maya nodded grimly. Not just activate them. Control them. Your brother didn't just build a weapon, he created a key to the entire Precursor network. With this station, someone could theoretically take control of every piece of Precursor technology in the galaxy. The implications were staggering. The Precursors had been capable of engineering on a scale that modern science could barely comprehend. Their technology could reshape planets, move stars, and possibly even manipulate time itself. That's why he initiated Protocol Omega, Sarah realized. He knew others would come for it. The Earth Alliance, the Outer Rim Confederacy, the corporate domains, everyone would want control of this technology. A new alert appeared on Maya's tablet. Commander, I'm detecting quantum fluctuations in the outer sectors. Someone's using faster-than-light travel nearby. Multiple signatures. Sarah moved to a tactical display. How many? At least 3 different groups, approaching from different vectors. Based on their engine signatures. Maya's voice trailed off. We've got Earth Alliance military vessels, Confederate warships, and something else. Something that's not using any kind of propulsion system we know of. The station's sensors suddenly focused on the unknown contacts. The holographic display shifted, showing vessels of impossible geometries, their designs echoing the original architecture of the station itself. "They're not coming for the weapon," Maya breathed. "They're coming home. The precursors, or whatever they've become, they're still out there. And your brother's modifications just sent them a beacon they couldn't ignore." Sarah Chen felt the weight of command pressing down on her shoulders. Her brother had created something revolutionary, but in doing so, he'd attracted the attention of both humanity's most powerful factions and the mysterious beings who'd built this technology in the first place. The station hummed around them, its hybrid systems pulsing with power. They had hours, maybe less, before the various forces converged on their position. The weapon systems were operational, the Precursor network was within their reach, and the future of human civilization might well depend on the choices they made in the coming moments. "Dr. Patel," Sarah said quietly, "how quickly can you learn to operate these systems?" Maya looked up from her tablet, understanding the implications. "You're not thinking of. My brother built this station to be operated by humans. Right now, we're the only ones who know its full capabilities. Whatever happens next, we need to be ready." The station's sensors tracked the approaching vessels, their signatures growing stronger by the minute. Soon, they would have to make a choice: surrender the station to Earth Alliance control, let it fall into Confederate hands, or face whatever had emerged from the darkness between the stars. But Sarah Chen had a fourth option in mind. One that her brother might have intended all along. Awakening. Lieutenant James Morrison had seen his share of combat during the Rim Wars, but nothing had prepared him for what was happening aboard the station. As head of security for Commander Chen's boarding team, he'd expected resistance, perhaps automated defenses or hostile environmental conditions. Instead, he found himself watching in awe as the station itself seemed to wake up around them. "Movement in Section Delta," his tactical officer reported through the comm, "the walls are reconfiguring themselves." James watched through his helmet's heads-up display as entire corridors shifted and reformed, geometric patterns flowing like liquid metal. Adrian Chen's modifications hadn't just merged human and precursor technology, they'd created something alive. "Hold positions," he ordered his team. "Dr. Patel, are you seeing this?" Maya's voice crackled through the comm, it's responding to the approaching ships. "The station's defensive protocols are activating, but..." She paused. "Something's different. The AI is evolving faster than predicted. It's not just adapting, it's learning." In the central control room, Maya and Commander Chen worked frantically to understand the station's transformations. Holographic displays showed the approaching vessels, Earth Alliance destroyers, Confederate battlecruisers, and the mysterious geometric ships that defied conventional physics. "Time to contact," Sarah demanded. 20 minutes for the Alliance fleet, 23 for the Confederates, Maya reported. "The unknown vessels, they're not moving through space so much as shifting it around them. Traditional time estimates don't apply." James directed his teams to secure critical junctions throughout the station, but with the constantly changing layout, traditional defensive strategies were useless. "Commander, we need a plan. When those ships arrive..." A new voice interrupted him, not through the comm system, but seemingly from the station itself. It spoke in harmonics, layers of sound that somehow formed words. Protocol Omega was not an ending. It was a beginning. The station's lighting shifted, patterns of energy flowing through previously invisible circuitry in the walls. In the control room, dormant interfaces suddenly activated, displaying information in both human and precursor scripts. "It's Adrian's voice," Sarah whispered. "He encoded himself into the station's systems." Maya's fingers flew across her tablet. Not just his voice, his consciousness. The quantum processors, the hybrid interfaces, he wasn't just trying to control precursor technology. He was trying to understand it. To become part of it. The station's external sensors showed the approaching fleets, but now they displayed more than just tactical data. They showed intentions, probabilities, possible futures branching out like crystalline structures in space. The Earth Alliance ships are charging weapons, James reported. Confederate fleet is launching fighters. The unknown vessels, they're doing something to local spacetime. Reality itself is starting to bend around them. Adrian's voice spoke again, the precursors didn't leave. They evolved. Their technology wasn't abandoned, it was waiting. Waiting for a species that could understand it. Not just use it, but become one with it. Sarah Chen felt her brother's presence in the station's systems, not as a recording but as something new. Something that existed in the space between human consciousness and precursor technology. The weapon isn't a weapon, she realized. It's a test. The precursors left their technology as a challenge. Any species advanced enough to properly integrate with it would prove themselves ready for the next step in evolution. Incoming transmission, Maya announced. Multiple channels. Alliance Command, Confederate High Council, and something else. Something broadcasting in precursor frequencies. The station's defenses were now fully active, fields of quantum energy surrounding the structure. But they weren't just defensive screens, they were transmission nodes, ready to connect to the vast network of precursor sites throughout the galaxy. James watched as reality seemed to flex around them. What do we do? If we surrender to either human faction, they'll try to weaponize this technology. If we let the precursors reclaim it. We don't do either, Sarah decided. Adrian didn't build this station to be a weapon or a tool of evolution. He built it to be a bridge. The hybrid systems pulsed with new energy as Sarah interfaced with them, her brother's consciousness guiding her through protocols that existed somewhere between human intuition and precursor logic. The station responded, its geometric structure shifting into new configurations that somehow existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The fleets are in range, James reported. Alliance ships are targeting our power core. Confederates are moving to block them. The precursor vessels, they're waiting. Sarah Chen stood in the heart of the station her brother had transformed, understanding at last what he had sacrificed everything to achieve. This wasn't about weapons or power or even evolution. It was about choice, the choice to remain purely human, to surrender to alien transformation, or to find a third path. Open channels to all vessels, she commanded. And Maya, initiate the sequence Adrian left for us. The real protocol Omega. The station hummed with power as humanity's first true contact with the precursors began, not through violence or submission, but through the hybrid understanding Adrian Chen had sacrificed himself to create. The real question was, were either species ready for what came next? Convergence. Dr. Alexandra Mitchell stood at the threshold between realities. The Legacy Station's control room had transformed into something beyond human comprehension, a space where quantum probabilities danced like auroras and time flowed in multiple directions simultaneously. As the station's chief xenophysicist, she theorized about such phenomena. Experiencing them was something else entirely. Multiple quantum signatures detected, Maya reported, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around them. The precursor vessels are responding to Protocol Omega. They're harmonizing with our hybrid systems. Commander Sarah watched the holographic display as reality rippled around the approaching ships. The Earth Alliance fleet had taken up defensive positions, their weapons charged but holding fire. The Confederate forces mirrored them, creating a tense standoff with the station at its center. Dr. Mitchell, Sarah called, what exactly are we looking at? Alexandra studied the readings from her quantum resonance scanner. The station isn't just communicating with the precursor ships, it's synchronizing with them. Adrian's modifications didn't just merge human and precursor technology, they created a quantum translation matrix. We're not just talking to them, we're beginning to think like them. The station's hybrid AI spoke again, Adrian's consciousness now fully integrated with its systems, the bridge goes both ways. Humanity learns to comprehend multidimensional thought, while the precursors remember what it means to exist in linear time. Both species evolve through understanding. Lieutenant Morrison's tactical team reported similar phenomena throughout the station. Corridors twisted into Mobius configurations, yet somehow remained navigable. Engineering systems operated in quantum superposition, simultaneously active and dormant. Alliance Command is demanding we power down the station, James reported. The Confederates are offering protection in exchange for exclusive access to the technology. The Precursor vessels. He paused, checking his readings. They're creating some kind of quantum field around us all. Alexandra moved to a newly formed interface panel, its surface a bizarre hybrid of crystalline alien technology and human touchscreens. The Precursors aren't trying to reclaim their technology, she realized. They're trying to complete it. Everything Adrian did, the modifications, the integration, even encoding his consciousness into the systems, it was all part of their original design. Maya's tablet suddenly projected a new set of equations into the air. Look at this. The station's quantum core isn't just drawing power, it's generating new forms of energy. Forms that only exist in the space between human and precursor understanding. The station shuddered as the first precursor vessel made contact. Not through conventional docking, but through quantum entanglement. Reality itself seemed to fold around them as ancient alien consciousness met human innovation. They're offering a choice, Alexandra explained, interpreting the complex data streams now flowing through the station systems. Not submission or resistance, but collaboration. The station isn't a weapon or a test, it's a prototype. A demonstration of what's possible when different forms of consciousness learn to coexist. Sarah processed this information as both fleet commanders demanded immediate action. The fate of human development hung in the balance. Accept the precursor offer and step into an unknown future, or retreat into familiar territory and lose this opportunity forever. Dr. Mitchell, Sarah said, can you stabilize the quantum matrix? Keep the bridge open without losing human perspective. Alexandra's fingers danced across the hybrid controls. The station systems are already adapting. Adrian's consciousness is acting as a translator, helping us maintain our identity while expanding our understanding. We don't have to choose between human and precursor thought, we can experience both simultaneously. The station's external structure continued its transformation, geometric patterns shifting into configurations that represented the merger of two fundamentally different ways of perceiving reality. The human fleets watched in awe as sections of the station began to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, yet somehow remained accessible to conventional technology. New transmission, James announced. It's being broadcast in both human language and precursor quantum signatures simultaneously. Some kind of joint declaration. The message filled the control room, expressed in words, mathematics, and pure conceptual thought all at once. To all who witnessed this moment, the boundary between species was always artificial. Evolution is not a ladder to climb, but a web to explore. The legacy station stands as proof that understanding transcends the limitations of singular consciousness. The choice is not between remaining human or becoming something else. The choice is whether to remain isolated or to learn new ways of being while preserving who we are. Alexandra watched as the quantum fields generated by the precursor ships began to harmonize with the station's hybrid systems. The process Adrian had started was reaching its culmination, but not in the way anyone had expected. Commander, she said, we need to make a decision. The quantum harmonics won't maintain this state indefinitely. Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it now. Sarah looked at the tactical display, where human fleets and precursor vessels hung in perfect balance around the station. The next few moments would determine not just the fate of this mission, but potentially the future course of human development. The station's hybrid consciousness spoke one final time, the greatest discoveries come not from conquest or submission, but from the courage to remain ourselves while learning to be something more. Synthesis. Admiral Helena Reyes had seen everything humanity had to offer during her 40 years in the Earth Alliance fleet. She'd witnessed first contact with 3 alien species, commanded ships in the Rim Wars, and negotiated peace treaties that shaped the future of human space. But nothing in her experience compared to what she now saw through her flagship's view screen. The Legacy Station had become something beyond description, a structure that somehow existed in multiple states simultaneously, its geometric forms flowing between dimensions while maintaining perfect structural integrity. The Precursor vessels surrounding it pulsed with similar energy, creating patterns in spacetime that her finest scientists couldn't explain. Status report, she demanded, eyes fixed on the phenomenon before her. Her tactical officer cleared his throat. Confederate forces are maintaining position, but they've powered down weapons. The station's quantum field has, well, ma'am, it's doing something to our sensors. We're detecting temporal echoes, parallel probability streams, and energy signatures that shouldn't be possible. Helena studied the tactical display, where Dr. Alexandra Mitchell's latest transmission scrolled across the screen. The station's transformation wasn't just physical, it was fundamentally altering how humanity might interact with the universe itself. Inside the station, Alexandra and her team worked to stabilize the quantum harmonics that kept their hybrid systems functioning. The merger of human and precursor consciousness had created something unprecedented, a way of thinking that preserved individual identity while accessing multidimensional understanding. Quantum matrix holding steady, Maya reported, her hands dancing across interfaces that shifted between physical and conceptual forms. The translation protocols are evolving. We're not just communicating with the precursors anymore, we're beginning to think in their language while they learn to process linear time. Lieutenant Morrison's security teams had adapted to the station's fluid geometry, learning to navigate spaces that changed not just physically but conceptually. All sections secured, he reported. Though the definition of secured keeps getting more interesting. Commander Sarah watched as new data streams filled the control room's holographic displays. The station was receiving information from precursor sites across the galaxy, each transmission adding to their understanding of what Adrian had helped create. Admiral Reyes, Sarah transmitted, "We're sending you preliminary data on the station's capabilities. This isn't a weapon or a tactical advantage, it's an opportunity for transformation. The precursors aren't our enemies or our superiors. They're teachers, waiting for us to be ready for the next step." In her flagship's command center, Helena reviewed the incoming data. The implications were staggering. The station hadn't just bridged the gap between human and precursor technology, it had created a framework for fundamentally different forms of consciousness to coexist and evolve together. Confederate Command is requesting access to the data, her communications officer reported. And the precursor vessels, they're transmitting something new. It's beautiful. The message came not in words or mathematics, but in pure conceptual form, translated through the station's hybrid systems. The universe is not a hierarchy to climb, but a tapestry to weave. Each consciousness adds its own thread, creating patterns more complex and beautiful than any single perspective could achieve. The Legacy Station is not an end, but a beginning, a proof that evolution need not mean the loss of self, but the expansion of what self can become. Alexandra watched as the quantum fields surrounding the station began to stabilize into new configurations. The chaotic energy of transformation settled into sustainable patterns, creating permanent bridges between different ways of thinking and being. "We're receiving requests from research teams across human space," Maya announced. "Universities, laboratories, exploration vessels, they all want to study what we've created here." "Not created," Sarah corrected. "Discovered. My brother didn't invent this possibility, he just helped us find it." Admiral Reyes made her decision. With the support of both Earth Alliance Command and the Confederate Council, the Legacy Station was declared a neutral zone, a place where humanity could learn to expand its understanding while maintaining its essential nature. Research teams from all human factions were welcomed aboard, working alongside precursor consciousness to explore the possibilities their merger had created. The station became a symbol not of technological superiority or evolutionary replacement, but of the power of choosing to grow while remaining true to oneself. Alexandra stood in the transformed control room, watching as human scientists worked with interfaces that existed simultaneously in physical and quantum states. The station hummed with the energy of multiple forms of consciousness working in harmony, each maintaining its unique perspective while contributing to a greater whole. Adrian knew this would happen, she realized, speaking to the hybrid consciousness that still carried echoes of his understanding. Not the specifics, but the possibility. He knew that true evolution wasn't about becoming something else, it was about learning to be more of what we already are. The legacy station continued its orbit through space that rippled with new potential. Human ships came and went, their crews forever changed by their experiences aboard. The Precursor vessels remained, not as overlords or judges, but as partners in an experiment that would reshape humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. And somewhere in the quantum matrices and hybrid interfaces, in the space between human determination and Precursor wisdom, Adrian Chen's consciousness continued its work, not as a ghost in the machine, but as proof that humanity's greatest strength was its ability to remain itself while daring to become something more. The station's external geometry shifted one final time, settling into a form that somehow represented both stability and infinite potential. It was no longer just a structure in space, it was a promise of what consciousness could achieve, and it chose to evolve through understanding rather than conquest. As Alexandra initiated new research protocols, she smiled at the elegant simplicity of what they had discovered. The next step in evolution wasn't about leaving humanity behind, but about bringing the best of what made us human into a future filled with infinite possibilities.